Hey everyone, it's Christopher Swan, and welcome to this week's episode of Living Your Journey. This is when I have the amazing opportunity to chat with the people that love what they do in life. They understand their passions, maybe it's a career path, or their dedication to volunteering and giving back. It's kind of like following their North Star. Their story may change as they go, but that doesn't really matter because they understand that they're on their journey every day. Additional information about each episode, guest, and more can be found at accidentalinformation.com. This week, Melanie Celis and I have a great chat about her new salon and her story. Melanie recently opened this new salon with her business partner, Adrianna St. Clair, in the San Francisco Bay Area. Melanie has been a stylist for years, but as she says, she doesn't really fit the typical stylist type. You see, she has a degree in cognitive science, and really she's doing a lot more than just hair. Melanie and I talk about the true reality of starting a business, why she loves her career, how she made it happen, and she shares some great advice. Melanie's also a big thinker. That shows in her salon, one that allows for growth of her stylists and of her clients. And she loves to learn. Remember, cognitive science nerd here? She looks at everything as an opportunity to lift people up and what she can do for others. So it's not just hair, it's about people. Melanie is full of energy and has some great perspectives to share, and I love it. Okay, let's get into it. Melanie!
Hey, Christopher!
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
It's so great to have you here. We always have a fun time talking, and we are always laughing, which I'm sure the listeners will hear today.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
So again, thanks for coming by and helping to tell your story to everybody. So Melanie, you are the co-owner of Salon Revel and also clearly a stylist there as well. Mm-hmm. You just opened the salon in March, so I'm sure it's a whirlwind, right?
It has been a journey and it continues to be so. Every day there's something new, like our electrical. It was shown to us that we're taking over this salon and electrical is all good. It isn't. We found out. I was blow drying hair and a new girl we just hired was also blow drying and it kept shorting the circuit.
Oh, wow. 2
blow dryers at once. Can you believe that? So that's business life. It's really different. And so it's just fascinating how many things to add on. And I don't know.
It sounds like it's still a whole new world.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whole new world.
Okay. Well, let's do a little backup then. So tell me about the salon. Give me like an overview of the salon and really what you guys offer.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a high-end salon in Burlingame, right in the heart in the downtown area. So there's a lot to do. Phil's around the corner and it's on the top floor. So it's got a great view. It's got a lot of natural light, which I love. It's also, the decor is really modern and bright, and we like to have fresh flowers and things to just...
What about the kind of business? Because for a salon, I mean, that can be many things, I think. So you guys are focused in hair.
Yes, absolutely. So we're all about hair. No nails, nothing else. We're really specialized in cuts and colors. We've all been educated by... Goldwell Master Colorists, so our color line's high-end. Goldwell's really fantastic color, also very expensive, but does the hair. It actually strengthens and makes the hair more shiny and glorious. So so high-end product lines, Hairstylist and Shumura. We always want to keep growing as stylists, our skill sets, but also stay really positive and also stay really humble, because I think one thing that hairstylists tend to do is think they know it all. Oh. And once you get there, I just feel like the more I learn, the more I realize I don't know.
Do you also think that if folks like the stylists you said, they feel if they really think they know it all, is that where problems maybe happen?
Yeah, I think that's where you start limiting yourself in that this is the only way of doing something, and maybe this is the only right thing to do, and then you close off to all possibilities. And I think that's also where passion is. So when you have yourself open to all possibilities, you grow more and you do something different.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where creativity lies. And I think that's why stylists become hairstylists. And I think once they hit that marker of, oh, I know everything, then that creativity stops flowing and they get stagnant and they become unhappy. And maybe they don't even realize it, but I see it happen. And it's happened to me in my career at certain phases. And I go, oh, I need to like start learning again.
Yeah. I would think that, because when you said that, I think that applies to almost anybody. Once you stop learning or you think you know it all, which we never know it all, we can obviously become really skilled or air quotes expert, which I really kind of hate that phrase.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, really? Are you such an expert?
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seems like an internet thing. But yeah, it's true. You know, you're going to keep stretching and growing.
Yes.
Well, tell me about the salon in the regards to like, why open a salon? Like, so why this and why hair?
So I always thought I'd own a business at some point in time. I didn't know it would be in hair. But early on, probably when I was like 11 years old, I was like, I want to be a business owner. This seems like a smart thing to do. Salon, I've been doing hair for over 8 years now. Really love the process. I really love the people part. I think it's fantastic to give something positive to every person who sits in my chair. Hopefully that's good hair. And that's the objective, right? And then additionally, I love to fill people with hopefully positive things I'm doing in my own life to spur some inspiration in them for their own lives. That's a personal objective. Obviously not a necessary one, but hopefully it adds to the quality of my service and who I am. Hair is just fascinating. There's so much more to it than I ever imagined, even when I first got into it. And when you do learn a topic matter, there's so much to it. And I just feel like everything's new because you get a new person in your chair. You have a new problem. Even if you've been doing their hair for years, they go through changes. They get a divorce. They want a new look. It's just, it's fascinating to be a part of their journey and then to grow with them and to evolve my skill set to meet their needs.
Sure.
And so I think there's so much to that. And it's really all about relationship and commitment of time and commitment of focus. And I think also for us as hairstylists, I think there's a level we hit where we can't grow anymore in certain salons. And I want to make a salon that allows for growth. So if one of my hairstylists wants to grow and expand and open their own salon, they could eventually open their own salon Rebel and I would help them. So the idea would be forming a culture of stylists who are all about growth and who want to grow and keep expanding and evolving throughout their lifetime. And I think right now there's not a lot of that in our salon industry. So that's where sort of our idea germinated from sort of the stunting we felt in our previous salon. We had a lot of great things there, which we all loved. And then when we wanted to grow, there was nowhere to go.
So okay. So, you know, let me unpack that a little bit. So you were talking about just why you were doing hair, you know, obviously about it's a richer connection and, you know, kind of giving back that new, all these elements that go into it. But then it's also then moving into why the salon now. So it was it that you were just personally stunted and you felt like that? Or because you talk about helping others, you know, and giving them a place to grow. It sounds like there's a couple things going on there. So I guess help me understand a little bit more about like why the salon right now? Was it really just because you were like, I'm over wherever I'm at and I want to do bigger and better things? Or you had this kind of dream?
Yeah, I've always had big dreams, I would say. And the salon sort of, where did it come out of? That's really interesting. It just appeared.
Well, obviously there's a couple things there, right?
Yes.
You know, there's this piece of you want to do more.
Yes.
Well, let me ask this question in maybe a different way. So, did it start that way? And then as you were coming up with this idea of, hey, we could do a salon, then when we build it out, the DNA or the fabric of our salon should include opportunity and growth and that sort of things. Did that come like afterwards?
Yeah, I think it came afterwards. So initially it stemmed from we were kind of being priced out of our current shop.
Yeah.
So that was hard. It was kind of like, okay, well, I'm not going to pass this on to my clients. I can't go, Christopher, you know how I charge you $55 for a haircut? Well, now it's $100, but it's the same haircut. But aren't you happy? This is cool, right?
I'm so happy right now.
So
I'd like to pay you $100 right now.
So I was like, I can't justify this. So it started there. Got together with a couple of the other girls and we talked about our options. Going off into another salon is kind of scary. It's terrifying because the culture could be totally different. We were blessed in the sense that anyone that our previous owner hired was really professional, really smart, very put together. And a lot of stylists do not roll that way. So I was like, I do not want to be a part of that drama. And neither of the other stylists wanted to either. So it was too big of a risk to go into that.
Yeah.
Oh. So we just kind of thought about it and like, well, why can't we do our own? And we sort of let that, sink in. And me and Adrianna is my other co-owner. We talked about it. And even Alexis was going to go in with us. So it was going to be 3 of us owning. Okay. Except Alexis got pregnant and now, it changed. But happy it all worked out. And then, I think the cultural change and thinking about getting to really have inspired hairstylists and getting to make the culture came out after, we thought, okay, here's the seed. We're going to, if we could do our own thing, what would it look like?
I see. So it was like this, it was finding a solution to fix what the current thing was going on, but it gave you a place to say, well, if I'm really going to do my own thing, let's do it the way I really been dreaming or hoping or even think through what that could look like.
Absolutely.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, because you also said, earlier that you'd always, I always knew I'd run a business, but did you, when you thought about running a business, was it always this like, I just want to run a business and do my own thing? Or was it this, I want to be able to have these dreams and these ideas and do cool stuff like this, come up with a culture for stylists that can grow and build? And
I think that's all, it's evolved over time. I've learned so many different things throughout. Like in property management, I learned about things I didn't want.
That's one of the most important lessons I think we learn. Do things that, do a lot of stuff so you can figure out what you really don't like. It's sometimes easier than figuring out what you love.
Absolutely.
You can rule them out sometimes because it's not always black and white.
Absolutely. So started there, was like, oh, do not want to do customer service, property management stuff ever again. No, horrible. Though there was parts of it that were still good, like training. I did training new hires for sales, and that was fantastic because again, you get to teach and you get to inspire. So there's always been elements in all my jobs that I've been in, which is kind of a lot for how old I am.
I think that's probably true for many people though.
So, and because of that, I feel like right now I'm getting to use all of those facets. Like even in, now we're having to make procedures and like streamline activities and things like that. And I had to do that. And my first job, I worked at a t-shirt manufacturing company of all places. And I streamlined, I figured out how, because they didn't have any systems. They were just like, okay, sink or swim. And of course, I'm always really conscientious and want to do a really good job.
Sure.
I'm like, oh, I want to get a gold star. And so I had to make a whole manual for their biggest vendor was Walmart. And before I left, I made this whole manual on how to do it to where you wouldn't make the mistakes that I made based on, I didn't know what I was doing initially. So I feel like that's coming into play where I'm getting to play with that. I'm training again because I'm training receptionists and any new hires. We're trying to think of a training program on how to teach new stylists how to be a great stylist and have all the basics of hair cutting and hair color. Yeah. So it's going to be a really, really interesting journey throughout getting our systems down. And what's hard is it's a process, right? Right now, I'm still in the things are they're cooking, but they're not done, right? So it's uncertainty is hard. You're like, I'm uncertain of
the vague.
Yeah. So it makes you feel vulnerable. Like, am I good at this? Am I gonna be able to get all this done? Is it gonna be a good turnout? Are we gonna have success based on all these things that we don't know yet?
Mm-hmm. How do you kind of quell that or work through that uncertainty or the questioning yourself of, is this going to be good? Is this right?
Yes. Honestly, I think part of that's why I do these things like relay races or exercise a lot to kind of hone in and push myself in a way physically that will also kind of allow myself to realize, oh, if I can do that, I can do this. And it sort of builds that level of confidence in something like I didn't run before. Now I'm running like 8 miles or 10 miles. And I feel like whenever you push yourself in one area, it actually allows your mind to expand. And so it's the mind-body connection, right? So
when you say expand, then, so let's say, if there's something you're doing, at the salon, you're like, oh, we're really going to focus on this, but is this really the right thing to do? I don't really know. Mm-hmm. So are you saying like, hey, if you just do these extra activities, it like, when you say open the mind, is it just gives you the freedom to like believe in yourself or relax? Because it still didn't magically give you an answer because you went and ran.
Right. That's true. That's definitely true. Sometimes it does though. Because sometimes during the run, you get clearer.
Oh, it's just like it's almost like the breather for your brain. You'd be like, oh, yes. I actually have the answer. Right. I was just too close or crowded or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like doing a rough draft. Like you throw it all out there and most of it is crap. But then you have this one gem. And I feel like it's sort of like that. Like there's a lot of mental energy that happens with stress. And getting it out through your body for me really, really relinquishes some of that. And then I kind of get centered and grounded. And for me, that's why I always hone into the physical and to exercise to get to a place of clarity.
That makes sense. I get that. Sometimes you just need that breather or to look at something differently, and that takes the break. So, I'm not going to go through your giant history because I know you've also been doing hair for a while. So It's not like you just jumped into a salon and you're like, ta-da, I do hair. Ta-da! But, I'm going to make an assumption. I assume you, not about the salon itself, but about, being a stylist in that world of hair, that's a space that you love, that, I know you've been kind of passionate about it for a while. I've heard you talk about that in the past. But so like, how did you realize that this is where you needed to be in hair, where like this was the right profession for you?
Well, I didn't know right away. So I did have a feeling back when I was young, like really young, I would say like 11, when I was walking through the mall and I saw someone cutting hair and I was like, that's what I want to do. And I was very certain. I had that level of certainty that only someone who doesn't know a lot has, right? You're just like, yeah, that's it. And I told, not even my own parents, but I told one of my best friend's moms. And she really told me I was something. She was like, oh, you're so smart. And so I looked up to her and she was like, oh no, Melanie, you should know, like, you can't do hair. Like anyone could do hair. You need to be a doctor, or a lawyer, or something more meaningful, or, this was her judgment. And I really,
it's interesting that she says that, right?
Yes.
Because it's like her heart's in the right place.
Yes.
But why can't you do hair?
Exactly.
Why can't it be meaningful? I mean, like I think, well, that's interesting.
It's extremely meaningful to me. That's what's funny. But I did really, it just, I closed that door, Christopher. I was just like, done. Okay. Like, she says it's bad.
Yeah.
And I trust her. And I'm young, I don't know.
Well, yeah, you're 11. What do you know?
Right. Exactly. Nothing. So I'm like, okay, so I won't do hair. All right. What else is there? And so I was a great student. So I was the first one in my family to go to college. So that was spectacular. And I learned about our brain and cognitive science. So it was fantastic.
I have that down on notes for cognitive science because I wrote down total science nerd.
Yes, absolutely. Right. Love it. Yes.
Which is hilarious to me. I mean, I love that you are all about like nerdy girl, but also you'd never know that from the outside,
really?
like in what you do for a living and all those things.
No.
So.
And I like actually not fitting the stereotype of a hairstylist.
I think it's
pretty
great.
awesome. So not your typical hairstylist is my coined term for myself.
That's great though.
Yeah. And so started there. And then when I was 26, I just had a breakthrough moment where I go, okay, I need to do something different. I don't like my life. I didn't like what I was doing. I was in property management and none of it was very positive. Toward the end, I was like done. I was burnt out. I was like, this is not who I want to be. I don't care how much money I'm making. I don't care. There was nowhere to go.
But why didn't you like it? I mean, meaning, was it not fulfilling, or it just like it wasn't the types of work that you like to do? It was
so. I can give you an idea. Like I was just staring at the clock, like waiting until my sentence. It was like I was in prison, and I was waiting until my sentence was over, and I could go salsa dancing, or I could go be with friends, or I can go do something that felt spiritually alive to me.
So you just always kind of felt like when you were whatever you were doing just wasn't hitting a mark.
Yeah, not even close. And I was behind a computer screen toward the end of it, like more than not doing sort of accounting type, really like stale stuff. And before that, I did a lot more with people in the beginning of it. So that really was okay with me. Like I enjoyed that part. But also I was an assistant property manager. So essentially everyone came to me when they were pissed off. And I was like always in the line of fire, and I was going, I'm so tired of being shot down. I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like physically, I could feel in my body that I was just so like lethargic and tired. And that's not my natural state. I mean, you know me, Christopher. Yeah. I'm like, I have a lot of energy and I can bring it. And I was just kind of done. And I was like, I know I'm not. It was almost like, you weren't supposed to exist like this. Yeah. And you're just like, okay, wake up. We need to shift. So I had a conversation with my dad. And I remember I was distinctly in this parking lot, and I was like, oh my gosh, what should I do, Dad? I'm thinking I should go to beauty school. And he's like, all right. And I was like, but I'm going to leave the security of my job. I'm probably going to be poor as crap. I'm going to be totally like back like when I was in college, making no money. Yeah. Not knowing how I'm going to survive. But I'm like, I'm not married. I don't have any kids. So I can do it now. Like literally I can do it. Should I do it? And my dad was like, yeah, kiddo, like you're not happy. Go for it.
But how'd you even come up with beauty school? Like you just because you just popped that on me like, oh, and then I want to go to beauty school, and I just asked Dad. I mean, did you just go back to like remembering?
Yeah, so one of my big influences was Tony Robbins. And one thing he always, he said, when you're at the end of your life and you're like an old lady in your rocking chair, think about the thing that you might regret that you hadn't done. And it was beauty school. I was like, well, what if I really would love doing hair and I never even tried it? And I felt that that in your pit of your stomach.
I love that you just said the part too, like, what if I didn't even try it?
Yes.
Right? Because it's not that like, I need to be a beautician. I need to do these things. It was like, you just need to try it and see.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's what I thought. I was so like, important. Well, I could try it. And it's only a year program. I could get out early if I decide, whoa, this is not it. Yeah. But I was like, all throughout. And it was a struggle. I'll tell you honestly, like for the first 3 years in hair, 3 to 4 years, it was hard. It was like working 6 days a week. it was going to beauty school from like 8 to 5 and then going to work right after 6 to 10 waitressing. And it was like never ending. And it was 3-year process because even after beauty school, to be a great like hairstylist, you don't learn much good hair in beauty school.
Right,
you just learn
like the
how
basics,
to pass.
right?
Yeah, basics and how to pass your state board licensing tests. But otherwise, you're a crap hairstylist. Don't go to someone right after beauty school.
Yeah.
Because they have no experience. They don't know what they're doing. And so I didn't want to be that person. I was like, no, I want to be good at this. So I had to study under people who were good. And it took like 2 years. So I was still doing that same song and dance for another 2 years. So for 3 years, I was totally poor, totally no time. And I kept asking myself, you still want to do this, right? And part of me is like, yes. But I really did. I really realized through the struggle of it that I was really committed. Like this was it.
That you were just enjoying it, that you were loving it?
Yeah.
Even if it was hard?
Yeah. Even though it was hard, I knew I was, you know you're in your right space.
Yeah.
You kind of just feel like, okay, I'm at home here.
It clicked, yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't give up, and so I'm still here.
And has it evolved for you then? Just like, meaning obviously you've learned, you've done more, you opened a salon. So it still feels like it's just like it's a place you're supposed to be. You love it. Yeah.
So I coined it to, have you heard of the flow state?
No. I don't think
so in psychology, there is a book on it called Flow. And there's a time where maybe you forget about everything. It's almost meditative, almost like where you lose sense of time, which is really amazing because I think we all sort of, I don't know, I feel like ageless when I do hair. Does that make sense? Like there's this space where it's kind of magical, where you're not you sort of allow like your creative energy to come out.
Just kind of like, would it be almost like just saying you're like, I'm really in my zone?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's almost like this hyper focus where you lose your sense of self, which sometimes is really nice.
Yeah.
And and I get that. I got that in salsa dancing as well. That's why one of the reasons why I did it during property management, to kind of have that life energy that it almost gives back to your soul, if you will.
It's interesting too. I would imagine that, if you were doing those things on the side of like the property management world and knowing that you're in this like dance, that you're doing salsa dancing and you're in that zone, that what that feeling felt like.
Yes.
Like that. I love it when I feel this way and I don't have that in my day job.
Exactly.
Which now years later, as you're doing hair, you must now go, oh yeah, I feel the same way. It's different activity, but I'm in the right space. And that's just a reminder to say, yes, I am doing the right thing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Every day feels like that. And also, it gets to expand just a little bit more that I get to cultivate these great relationships with my clients. I mean, me and you have gotten close, and I just feel like this connectedness. And that's part of one of my core values. Like, I want to feel connected to other people. I want to have strong relationships and feel like I'm making a difference somehow.
That last piece there, is that, because I was even going to ask you too, like, because I think you seem to be on a mission kind of like beyond hair, right? You're always in this discovery mode because I know you're very introspective and you're, self-learning and these different things. So is it really around that helping others, or, what's the underlying connection there for hair for you? Because I think it is more than just like helping somebody look great, which is part of it, I'm sure. But,
absolutely.
But what's that key piece there?
So yeah, I would definitely say the driving force is to positivity and learning and connection. So all of those things kind of get to intertwine in hair. And the cool thing is...
Intertwine. Ba-bum-bum.
Right.
Give here all week.
Yeah, so it's this melting pot of great things that I love.
Yeah.
You get a one-on-one, which I always feel better in, that one-on-one personal conversation. And I just feel like... because there's no expectation as a hairstylist, I'm not here to judge you. I'm not your psychologist, really, right?
I was like,
I know, questionable.
I know you hear things that I probably shouldn't be telling other people.
Absolutely. This is true. But that's kind of the beauty of it. It isn't, I'm not the expert in that.
Yeah.
And people feel more free to share sometimes with a stranger, right?
Yeah.
Because there's that anonymity and there's not judgment. And I like that whole space of feeling safe and giving people room for non-judgment and just to feel like they can be all of themselves. I love that. Like, I want to cultivate that space in my chair for people because I think we have it so rarely. I think it's like that rare treat.
Oh, I see. So like creating almost like a safe spot for somebody.
Yes.
Building a connection and just being able for them to open up.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And allow for them, like, whatever. If they want to like just read magazines and enjoy that too, awesome. Like, I'm totally all about them getting what their need is met. And it's really nice for me, like as a giver and as someone who's been, in rough times in my own life and had like teachers help me through that or give me that safe space to like, reach out to, like, I want to give back to other people in that way.
Is that where that comes from? Just that, I've experienced what this is like. I would imagine then maybe if you want to give back, has it been the opposite then of maybe not having those safe spots and not having those connections that I've always really wanted, and now I want to provide that for others?
Absolutely. I would say that I had a hard time in my upbringing with my family.
Okay.
Now I'm really, really close to them. So I've totally changed and transformed all my personal relationships in my family. So it's been great. But back then, I felt like I had more connection to strangers. And I've always sort of felt this real energy to all people, right? That we're all connected and we all have that similar humanness that, and we all are good, like deep down, hopefully.
Inherently, right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I love to keep that belief. That's actually one of the beliefs that I felt challenged by when I was in property management. Like, oh, I'm not going to believe that people are good anymore because they keep yelling at me and making me feel so small. So I decided I had to get out because I wanted to keep my belief.
Well, I love that you just focused right in on your core, right? That's so good. Like, you didn't forget that. And you thought, how can I bring that to life or whatever else I'm doing? And then using your background, right? Your experience of like, because I think that's so fun about you. I've listened to you, since I've known you, about just the things that you try to learn really about yourself, but then you try to project, it seems like, how can I use this quality, this thing I learned for others and make them feel really good within the hour and a half I have them in my life, once a month or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
That seems like a special time.
Yeah, it is. And just reading and learning all these cool things about the brain, like...
oh, that's right. And your science nerdiness flows right into this. I forget about that. So, I get it now. Cognitive science, hair. Now I have you for an hour. I'm going to do my experiment.
Yeah, of course. And then I love prescribing books to my clients. Oh, you should read this book and that book. And I see it goes right back into being the unusual hairstylist that prescribes people books. So you're like, who are you?
Just like it's in that special time again. Yeah, you're trying to kind of give them a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. And to give people unexpected, I think is really good because sometimes you need to be woken up. Like I remember this great salsa teacher I had. She was like that. She just coined these moments. And I remember thinking, gosh, I want to be more like her. Cause I went up to her one day and she knew I was like dating someone and we had broken up, and I was like kind of sad about it, And so I walked up to her and I said, oh yeah, he's not, I don't speak to him anymore. We just broke up. And she's like, congratulations, like super happy and just like totally changed my state and made me like kind of wake up and go, oh yeah, why should I be sad about this? Maybe this is a good thing. And I love that idea. So kind of like
the idea of what, just like shifting
your emotional state. I think it's almost like redirecting people and distracting them out of like that, like sad place where they're just kind of gonna get settled and like feel bad about themselves. Oh, I'm going through a breakup now. Life sucks. Like recently, what I did was I went through. Again, I was dating this guy for a very short amount of time, but I was like excited about him, and I was like, oh yeah, it's gonna work out, and then it didn't. And so instead of being sad about it, I was like, how can I reframe this for myself? And how can I make it a win-win for everyone? So I went and I bought a bunch of flowers and I gave them out to people that day. And it totally made my day. And I hopefully got to make other people's day. But something like that's sort of the person I want to bring to the table for my clients, for myself. And so I work on that all the time. And it really is a process of continually learning and reframing like whatever your focus is. And so it's really a mental, and I remember asking myself different questions. So Tony Robbins also said like the quality of your life is based on the quality of the questions you ask yourself on a daily basis. And that like hit me hard. And I was going like, okay, what do I even ask myself? And sometimes it's even hard to figure that out. And so I was like, well, what questions can I ask myself? How can I like shape my life differently? So I started asking myself more positive questions. And with that, I got a more positive lifestyle.
Sure. And it sounds like, just bringing that back to the salon too, it just sounds like that's kind of what you want to be able to do for others. As you learn, you bring that positivity to others as well. So I want to go back to the salon itself too. And just, so how, does the salon then give you like a vehicle to like be able to do that in a bigger way?
Yeah, I feel like for me, what I want to do is build up the hairstylists and their confidence levels. The idea that they can be more than they ever thought they could be. Also,
I love that, by the way. I love that you think that.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about like, there's a ton of salons in the world. Let's think about it. Like, but does every salon or the people that own the salons even think that way? That's why I really wanted you on the show, because I think that you look at everything as an opportunity, and it's not just face value. It's so much deeper.
Yes.
And I mean, you obviously have a mile a minute energy and you're bubbly about it all.
Yeah.
I know. But that's what I think is so fun though, is because you do look at it like, how can I make this better? What can I do for others? And
Absolutely.
How can I bring my energy to others?
Yeah. And I have I really do care about people. Like I care really deeply, and I think that that's unusual too. Like obviously we all have self-interest, but I think the thing is I do want people, I want more for them. Like I know like seeing where I started, right? We all have a story and our backstory. I knew I wanted more for myself, and I had to work hard on myself to get it. And so I know that each person, as long as they're willing to be open and to grow and to work hard and to care enough about themselves. And that's part of what connects hair all in this, because going and getting your hair styled like actually gives back to you. Like you're saying, I'm worth this.
Yeah.
I'm worth spending money on. I'm worth spending time on. And this is a big deal. And it funnels into everything else. And so I'm really a big believer in that small thing.
Like making it the catalyst, right?
Yeah, that small thing becomes something big. Like, like you got your hair done and now you're going to go up to like that hot dude that you didn't think you were worthy of, but now you're worthy of him.
I love that you turned it into a date.
Yeah, exactly, right?
not into like, and now I'm going to go interview for the job.
Well, it depends on your focus.
Making it real.
Yeah, well, I'm a big believer in love, and I always hope for that for people, and for myself too.
Well, let me jump back into the salon a little bit more then too, just knowing that it's been a new business for you, So I wonder, like, what's the truth about starting a business? Even when it's your passion, your dream, but like, what's the truth? You and I talked just about a week ago, and I shared something with you as well. I was like, this is what I've been thinking. But like, what do you think the truth is when you start a business that it's because it's not all like happiness and rainbows.
Oh God.
But like in your thoughts, like what's the real truth there behind, when I say truth, I probably mean more like people say it's always hard work.
Yes.
But I think that's so generic.
Yes.
Like, yeah, clearly it's hard work, but what does that mean? So I'm wondering for you, like in your truth, what does it mean when you start a business?
I would say initially it feels like constant overwhelm. You're like, oh, now there's this, now there's that, now there's that. And just trying to get it sorted in your own head of what's the most important is really challenging. And you're just being hit again and again. And there's also the sense of there's nobody else going to do it. Like, it's you.
That's so true. It's true. No, right? Unless you hire somebody.
And initially, right, budgets are tight. So, you're not the space where you'll have like millions of dollars. I mean, I hope someday, like when we're opening more and more salons, we actually have those dollars to generate to get somebody else to do it who's like, being paid awesome amounts of money. Well, you're probably going to get paid nothing for it. And that you're the one, and you get this decision fatigue, I think. There's just, because there's so much being thrown at you all at once. And it's usually stuff you haven't done. Oh, I've been like handiworking the salon and like doing all these home improvement things that I've never done before. Me and Adrianna, we fixed the sink yesterday. We're plumbers. You're just like you're wearing so many hats. Like, it is hilarious. And it's but it's really neat in a way.
But tell me about that. Go back to that because we skipped over it real quick. Yeah. That decision fatigue.
Yes.
Tell me more about what that part meant because I think that's super interesting.
Yes, absolutely. So essentially, I think overall, we get in these habits, and normally in your daily life, you only have a certain amount of decisions to make, and most of them are already done. Like, you naturally brush your teeth because it's a habit. So you're not making that decision. It's already been done. But when you get a new business, there is so many things to decide from like, who's our towel vendor going to be? Who are we going to recruit for being a receptionist? Who's going to there's so many things. Like every little thing like that you never even thought of before is being thrown at you, and you have to make a decision about it. And now you're going like, maybe you make 5 decisions a day. You're going from 5 to like 25. And you're and probably in beyond that. And it's even hard to keep track of it. And also, in addition to the fact that you're making all these like big decisions, it's going to trickle down and affect somebody else. So if you didn't make the right decision, there's also this pressure that like, is that right? So there's so much more to it. I just feel like, I don't know if you feel this way, Christopher, but like your plate's so big and you've expanded so much in a very short amount of time that almost like you're wearing this like huge pack, like you're going up this mountain and you have this huge pack on your back and you're like, I hope I could just keep going, because some of it feels like insurmountable. And then you get to this place where, and I don't know if you've hit it at some point where you're just like, I just can't. At one point I told Adrianna, thank God I have a co-owner, okay, you have to deal with this part because I'm done. It's almost like that's why when you have a child, you have 2 people. So you're like, I kind of want to kill them right now. So you take them so I won't. Yeah. So I can look at myself in the mirror every day and feel like a good person. And I feel like you get to that place at some point. You're just kind of done where you need a break. Yeah, you have to have a break. Yeah, and it sounds even like, running a business, the decision fatigue is you're just tired of doing it. Yes, right? Absolutely. But like you said, like unless you have some co-owner, some co-founder or something, you may not have that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't even know how people would do it, honestly. Well, that's interesting. Like, so thinking about starting this business, what's something you wish you knew before you opened the salon? Now that it's like hindsight, you can look back. Oh, man. I don't even... like one thing that you think was like, I wish I kind of knew this or a little bit more about this. Gosh, I'm not sure if I'd want to know, because I don't know if I would have done it, Oh. Because it's one of those things where after you've jumped in, Christopher, you're like in it, right? And once I've jumped into something, I'm going to be committed. But it's almost like... maybe it would have been overwhelming. Like it would have stopped you. It might have stopped me, or it might have gave me a lot of pause before I leaped. And I'm clear that I'm still in the right place, and this is really a great direction. I know it's going to be more than I ever anticipated. So now I even know that more like directly. Yeah. I'm experiencing it, right? But I just think that taking it one really moment at a time instead of like chunking, because then my brain wants to go, I want to know exactly like how perfect it's going to be and what does it look like and can we get to the end, right? And that's sort of like the perfectionist side. And also that's the side that doesn't want to be vulnerable and be in the space of, I don't know, and I'm scared, and this is hard, and am I good enough? And am I smart enough to get...
That's interesting, because I would have also looked at it as, but you also need a vision of where you're going to go.
Yes.
Is that different than what you're saying though? Because you can have that vision, but don't move so fast ahead or think about tomorrow when you got to live today and get things done.
I think it's that. And I think also in that struggle part, like if you've ever listened to Brene Brown, I've just been listening to her Rising Strong. In the struggle part of it and in our vulnerability and our uncertainty, there's a lot where we grow and we allow for new things to come in. And I kind of think that if you just go directly to the end, you missed out on what could have been and what might have been better.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And I also love this idea of slowing down a little bit. It's like, you talking about like going for a run, going back to that. It's the slowing down. Especially, knowing you, because you're quick, fast paced, you're on the go. So probably those breakers are good for you.
Yeah, I need them.
Well, because some of these questions that I'm asking you are like the stuff I love to like pepper into some of the conversations I'm having. So the next one is definitely one I try to keep a little consistent for some folks kind of going forward. And just hearing some of your story, I think would be really fun. So knowing that you're in property management, doing all these random things, which I think so many of us have done random jobs.
Yes.
Again, you got to figure out what you don't like sometimes. So what's something that you wish you could tell your younger self about following your passion or managing your career? So, you went to school for, cognitive science, you were doing these other jobs, you went into hair, but now look back and say, yeah, if I could tell my younger self something about managing my career, what would it be?
That's a doozy. What would I tell my younger self? I would say that trust my gut. I think there's so much we know and we don't know why we know it. And I think in the world where we're trying to justify everything, I was also listening to something that said that we make up reasons why after. And sometimes we just know something, and to really kind of trust that inner self that has this knowing. Because I did, like as a little girl, I knew since I braided hair that I wanted to do something with hair. There was something magical in it. Even when I walked into a beauty supply store, I was like, I'm home. And this is like some silly like key things that I knew really early on that really like I didn't go for it because I was like, oh, well, I should go to school because society deems this, then I'm worthy and then I'll be successful. And I'm so glad I went to school, believe me. It was totally amazing and it totally has made me thrive.
Sure.
But I think it's funny how much I kind of waffled a lot, and I think I could have got there faster for sure if I had trusted myself. But there was a lot of self-doubt. There was a lot of those, well, yeah, but that's not enough. And what's funny is when you really settle in and be all of who you are, it's exactly enough. Like
when you're all in and this is where you're supposed to be, because you're being true to yourself, right?
Exactly.
What do they say? The most popular term these days is your authentic self,
yes,
right?
Yes, of course.
I mean, I really believe in that. I just think it's a funny catchphrase.
It is.
I love that, actually. It's interesting that you would give that advice, because that's actually what I was thinking when I asked that question. I was like, well, what I would have told you is, because it's very much that true. And I think that so many of us get caught into that no matter what we're in. It could be about work. It could be about the way we are doing something, purchasing a big deal house, something, whatever, right?
Absolutely.
Following kind of what you ingrained know. And don't be afraid.
Yeah.
Also sounds like you talked about like the pressures.
Yes.
Don't be... like maybe don't put so much value in the pressure from other society, whatever the case is.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. I think I think once we're able to really surrender and let go to whatever judgments that and a lot of times we're making them up, right? And yes, there's stereotypes about hairstylists not being smart and just like not, being, they're just like, they just go there because they have nothing better to do, right? They're high school dropouts and they just do hair because it's like quick and easy. Mm-hmm. And there are those, but then there's other people who really, really want to do hair and it's their passion and they're fantastic at it and they're so put together. So I just feel like there's so much we limit ourselves by these small little things that we coined as like, oh, this is all truth. And it's not.
No, it's not. It's things that we accept on the way, right? And sometimes we have to unaccept those, let those things go.
Yeah.
Yeah, super smart. I personally have had some of those as well, and there's been awakenings as you go. Mm-hmm. What's one of the things that, as you are doing this, I think you're on probably an adrenaline rush now too, with the new business and all these things to do, and discovering yourself. You already know who you are and where you're going, but this is a new world but what inspires you to keep going, like when it's tough or, when you have that fatigue, you obviously have a partner, but like what inspires you to keep going that way?
I think so many people in my life inspire me, even random people I just meet. I know that seems weird, but I think the smallest thing, really, like a smile from, a stranger or just a nice little heart to heart. Because sometimes you just get these rare experiences and it makes me go, oh yeah, that's why I love people. And that's why I want to do what I do. And that's why I want to bring out more in me to give back.
So it's like even the small experiences, because I'm just repeating this back to make sure I really got it.
Yeah.
So it's really just like those small, unique, or it could be big or small.
Yeah.
But it sounds like just unique experiences are the things that remind you like, yeah, I love these kind of experiences and they come from people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just learning a new thing or trying something new. Like I'm going to do the relay race. I've never done that before. I'll run 16 miles. That's exciting. I'm going to be a part of a team. Normally I do a lot of my physical activity by myself. So that'll be great. And then I'm doing whitewater rafting the weekend after. I've never done that.
Well, that sounds great.
So, just things to kind of wake myself up and kind of realize, oh yeah, this is why life is so like fun and interesting and fascinating. And this is why I want to keep myself in that alive state, that juicy like state.
It so reminds me of a previous guest on our episode where Chris Gaida talks as well about like just waking yourself up. That was his phrase. And he, if you haven't heard it yet, he talks about he's like, sometimes you just got to wake yourself up and do something big. He's like, I've jumped out of a plane and actually I did it twice. And he's like, he couldn't even describe what it actually did. He goes, but it shook me to my core to make me think differently.
Yeah.
And he loves this thing about curiosity and learning. So it sounds like you have this connection. I love this, like, right? You guys should totally be friends. I'll make that happen.
Okay, cool.
So I love that it's like, that kind of spurs you, that inspires that new, the fresh, small people, small things from people, and then bigger change.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's both. So human nature, we like stability and then we like novelty. So there's always this push-pull happening in us all the time.
That's really true.
And I just think that there's sometimes where we get in, we're also creatures of habit. So we have this pattern behavior. And so I just feel like what I mean by waking up, it's like, oh, I need that novel experience to kind of go, oh yeah, oh yeah, I'm alive. And like, there's new things that can happen, versus like you're kind of doing your same old song and dance, the thing you do every day. That's a ritual.
And do you do this for just overall life, or does this help you in your business as well? Like, or following that passion?
I think it's generated in both. And and definitely if I feel starting to have any kind of stagnation in hair, I'm going, oh, I need a new class, or I need a new book to read on it, or I need, a new color theory, or I need to make a new formula that I've never done before. Like, so yeah, it kind of goes, oh yeah, like, hello, like you're doing stuff. Are you here?
I love that. Hello. But that's so true. That's so great. I mean, keep on doing that. Like, yeah, just go figure it out. Like, if you feeling stagnant, go try something.
Yes.
Try something to
Yes.
get out of that so you don't do it and you stay inspired and stay thrilled for what you're doing.
Exactly. Yeah. And you have to, it's almost like you keep loading up your fire. You put firewood and you need to regenerate some of that. And I think it's the only way. Otherwise, that creativity, it burns out. And you're like, I got nothing left. What am I going to do?
Absolutely. That's smart. That's smart advice.
Oh, thank you. I try.
That's very helpful. Well, oh my gosh, Melanie, this was so much fun. Thank you for going through all of that. You're a spitfire of personality, which I love. I love that you have so much energy for this. And it's clear that you love interaction with people and just kind of, bridging the gap of, helping people to obviously making them look good, feel good, and then, doing more. So it's been a ton of fun.
Me too. Thank you, Christopher, for having me.
Well, let me ask if people want to follow along with the story of the salon and for yourself, where can they find you online?
Oh, so online, Salon Revel is our website. And then you can also find us on Facebook for Salon Revel as well. And then I'm on Facebook too. So if you have any questions for me personally, I would love to talk with you. So please hit me up.
Great. And we'll list those on the website, for your episode as well. We'll list the different links for your website, for Facebook, and for you.
That sounds fantastic.
Great.
Thank you, Christopher.
Thank you. It was so much fun. I'm loving Melanie's views, and she's one of those people. Someone who uses her gift to channel positivity and light. And those kind of people are who you want to surround yourself with because they're always lifting you up. So let Melanie and I know what you think of the episode. Send us a message. Really. We want to know what you're thinking or even share your experiences. Add a comment on the Accidental Information Facebook page or tweet us at accidentalinfo using hashtag #livingyourjourney. You can find out more about Melanie, links to her salon, and her Facebook page all at accidentalinformation.com. Okay, here's the big favor time. If you like what you heard, I love it if you gave us a review in iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. It's so helpful. It helps us bring new episodes and guests each week. Seriously, it does. Living Your Journey is available every Tuesday. Until next week.